You know that feeling when you walk into a room and there's someone who just draws everyone in without saying a word? They're not the loudest person there. They're not performing for attention. But somehow every conversation seems to orbit around them. If you've ever met someone like this, chances are you encountered an INFJ. These rare individuals make up less than 2% of the population, but they possess something most people spend their whole lives trying to figure out: a psychological magnetism that works like clockwork. Today, we're breaking down the exact mechanisms behind this attraction. By the end of this video, you'll understand why INFJs don't just connect with people, they psychologically disarm them. Let's dive into their first secret weapon. Before we start, please hit the like button, comment, and subscribe so you won't miss any of our weekly deep dives into the world of personality types. And if you are looking to achieve a deeper understanding of yourself and your personality type, click the link in the comments to take our favorite free personality test. The empathy weapon: reading souls like open books. Most people think empathy means being nice or caring about others' feelings. But INFJ empathy operates on a completely different level. It's like having psychological radar that picks up signals other people miss entirely. Watch an INFJ in conversation. While you're focused on the words being spoken, they're reading microexpressions, voice tone shifts, and body language patterns. They notice when someone's smile doesn't reach their eyes. They catch the slight pause before you answer a question. They see the tension in your shoulders that you don't even realize is there. This isn't just observation. It's pattern recognition on steroids. INFJs have spent years cataloging human behavior, building an internal database of what different emotional states look like. When someone says they're fine, but their voice rises slightly, the INFJ immediately knows something's wrong. Here's where it gets powerful. They don't just notice these things, they respond to them before you even ask for help. You're stressed about a deadline, and suddenly they're offering to grab you coffee. You're feeling overwhelmed in a crowded room, and they suggest stepping outside for air. It's like they're reading your mind, but really, they're reading your emotional patterns. This creates something psychologists call emotional validation. When someone truly sees what you're feeling, not just what you're saying, your brain releases oxytocin, the bonding hormone. You feel understood at a level most people never experience. That's incredibly addictive. But here's the real secret. INFJs don't just read emotions, they anticipate needs. They notice you always get quiet when you're hungry, so they suggest lunch before you realize you're starving. They see you getting anxious in large groups, so they create opportunities for one-on-one time. This anticipation makes people feel cared for in ways they've never experienced. The trust-building effect is immediate. When someone demonstrates they understand your inner world without you having to explain it, your psychological defenses drop. You stop performing and start being real. That's when genuine connection happens. Most people are walking around feeling invisible, like no one really sees them. INFJs make people feel seen, heard, and understood in a world where everyone's distracted and focused on the surface. This level of attention feels almost magical. They also create what therapists call psychological safety. You can share your fears, your mistakes, your weird thoughts, and instead of judgment, you get curiosity. Instead of advice, you get questions that help you think deeper. This makes people want to keep coming back for more of that rare understanding. The empathy weapon works because it addresses a fundamental human need: the need to be truly known. When an INFJ offers that gift, people don't just like them, they become psychologically attached to them. But empathy alone isn't the whole picture. There's another layer that makes this attraction even more powerful: the authenticity advantage, why genuine always wins. While most people are performing some version of themselves, INFJs show up as exactly who they are. This isn't because they're fearless, It's because they've learned that authenticity is actually the most potent social strategy. Think about your typical social interaction. Someone asks how you're doing, and you automatically say, fine, even when you're struggling. You laugh at jokes that aren't funny. You agree with opinions you don't share. You're constantly calculating what response will make you look good. INFJs skip this entire performance. If they're having a rough day, they'll say so. If they disagree with something, they'll express it respectfully. If they don't understand something, they'll admit it. This creates an immediate contrast with everyone else who's trying so hard to seem perfect. Here's what happens in other people's brains when they encounter this authenticity. Relief. Finally, someone who isn't putting on an act. Someone who permits them to drop their own mask. When you're around someone genuine, you can stop working so hard to manage your image. This vulnerability is magnetic because it's rare. Most people are terrified of showing weakness or admitting mistakes. But INFJs understand something crucial. When you own your flaws, you disarm criticism. When you realize you don't know everything, people trust your expertise more. When you show your struggles, people feel safe sharing theirs. They also possess what I call quiet confidence. This isn't the loud, attention-seeking confidence of someone trying to prove themselves. It's the steady assurance of someone who knows their own values and doesn't need external validation to feel worthy. You'll notice INFJs don't argue to win. They discuss to understand. They don't need to be the most intelligent person in the room. They don't fish for compliments or constantly check how they're being received. This self-possession is incredibly attractive because it signals emotional maturity. Their authenticity also shows up in how they listen. While others are waiting for their turn to talk or thinking about how to impress, INFJs are genuinely curious about your thoughts and experiences. They ask follow-up questions that show they're actually processing what you said. They remember details from conversations weeks later. This creates a feedback loop. When someone listens to you without an agenda, you naturally want to share more. When they respond with genuine interest rather than judgment, you feel valued. When they remember what matters to you, you feel important. The authenticity advantage works because most people are starving for authentic connection. They're tired of small talk, tired of pretending, tired of relationships that stay on the surface. INFJs offer something different, the chance to be real with someone who won't use your honesty against you. But authenticity alone still doesn't explain the full magnetism. There's one more psychological mechanism that turns attraction into lasting attachment. The growth catalyst effect, becoming someone's transformation. Here's where INFJs become truly irresistible. They don't just accept you as you are, they see who you could become. And they have an almost supernatural ability to help you get there. Most people look at you and see your current reality, your job, your habits, your limitations. INFJs see your potential. They notice talents you've forgotten about. They spot patterns in your behavior that reveal hidden strengths. They know the person you're meant to be, even when you can't see it yourself. But here's the key. They don't push this vision on you. Instead, they ask questions that help you discover it yourself. Instead of saying, you should start that business, they ask, what would it feel like if you could work on something you're truly passionate about? Instead of, you need to leave that toxic relationship, they ask, what do you need to feel truly valued in a partnership? This approach is psychologically brilliant. When someone tells you what to do, you resist. When they help you arrive at your own conclusions, you feel empowered. INFJs understand that people don't change because they're forced to. They change because they're inspired to. They also create a growth mindset environment, as psychologists call it. When you make mistakes around them, they don't judge. They get curious about what you learned. When you're struggling with something, they don't offer quick fixes. They ask what resources or support you need. When you doubt yourself, it reflects evidence of your capabilities. This gentle guidance creates psychological safety for taking risks. You know that if you try something new and fail, they won't think less of you. They'll help you process what happened and figure out the next step. This support makes people braver, more willing to step outside their comfort zones. The growth catalyst effect is also about timing. INFJs have an intuitive sense of when someone is ready to hear feedback and when they just need support. They know when to challenge you and when to comfort you. This emotional intelligence makes their guidance feel perfectly calibrated to what you need. Over time, this creates what I call transformation loyalty. When someone helps you become the best version of yourself, you associate them with your growth and success. They become part of your identity development. That's not just attraction, that's psychological bonding at the deepest level. The mystery balance keeps this dynamic interesting. INFJs reveal enough about themselves to create intimacy, but they maintain enough privacy to stay intriguing. They're like a book you can never quite finish reading, always revealing new layers that make you want to understand them better. Now here's where it gets really powerful. The INFJ's secret weapon isn't actually one thing. It's the combination of empathy radar, authentic presence, and growth catalyst abilities working together. They read you deeply, accept you completely, then help you become who you're meant to be. Here's the truth. You don't have to be an INFJ to develop these skills. Start practicing deeper listening, embrace your authentic self, and look for potential in others. If you want to continue the journey to understanding yourself or an INFJ in your life, click either of the following videos, where we continue to unlock the secrets of the INFJ personality type.